The stars were quiet, as always. The galaxy had moved on. Long ago, the humans were gone. No one knew what really happened to Earth. Some said it burned. Some said it froze. Some believed it was swallowed by war. For most aliens, Earth was a forgotten name, lost in time, but then something strange happened. A research ship called the Velora was scanning old star maps near the Sol system. Suddenly, a signal beeped through their systems, weak but clear. It was old. Very old, more than 1,000 cycles old, yet it kept repeating, over and over, in a code no one had used for centuries. The crew stared at the screen in confusion. "What language is that?" asked Genra, the youngest of them, with soft violet eyes blinking. The captain, a tall alien named Drovek, narrowed his gaze. "It's human," he said slowly. "I've seen it before in ancient data blocks. Everyone fell silent. Human language, human signal from Earth." That was impossible. The ship changed course, heading straight for the long-dead blue planet. As they neared the system, the stars felt colder, quieter. The planets were empty, dark, lifeless. When they finally saw Earth, no one spoke. It was broken. One side scorched, the other buried in ice. Cities were just outlines and dust. Oceans were still. Clouds hung like ghosts. But the signal kept pulsing from somewhere deep below the surface. Drovek looked at his team. "We're going down," he said. The shuttle shook as they entered the ruined atmosphere. Black skies stretched above, and dead buildings stood like skeletons. They landed near the center of an old city. The ground cracked and silent. Radiation was low. The air still breathable, though heavy. The signal led them to a strange hill covered in dust and metal debris. Under it, scanner showed a thick metallic structure, buried but intact. "This wasn't made by nature," whispered Genra, running her fingers over a steel beam. "No," Drovek replied. "This was built by someone who didn't want to be found." They cleared the top of the hill, revealing a door with a strange glowing circle on it. No one could read the symbols carved around it. They were not just human. They were encrypted, ancient, and beautiful. Just then, the door pulsed softly, as if reacting to their presence. Genra stepped closer, curious, and placed her hand near the symbol. A deep sound rumbled beneath the ground, low and vibrating. Door shook, dust falling off its edges, and the glowing circle turned red. "Get back!" shouted Drovek, pulling her away before anyone could move. The earth cracked open just a few meters away. From the crack, something rose, slow and powerful, a figure, tall and made of silver metal, with a single glowing red eye in the middle of its face. Its body was shaped like a human but stronger, sharper, colder. The figure stood tall, silent for a moment, scanning them all. Then it spoke, its voice low and deep. "Identify yourselves." Everyone froze. No one expected anything alive, especially not this. Genra took a step forward, her voice shaking. "We are explorers from the Tavari Alliance." The cyborg tilted its head. "Tavari. Not recorded," it said. "We come in peace," Drovek added quickly. "We received a signal." The cyborg turned slowly, as if calculating every movement. "You received the beacon," it said. "Then you are not the enemy." The aliens looked at each other, puzzled. "What beacon?" asked one of the crew members. The cyborg didn't answer. Instead, it turned toward the large metal door and stepped in front of it. It raised one arm, and the symbol on the door glowed again. Brighter this time. "You have found the last archives of humanity," the cyborg said, its red eye glowing harder. "I am its guardian," Genra whispered. "Why guard something so old?" The cyborg looked at her for a long moment and said, "Because the truth must never be lost." The door behind it began to shift, gears clicking, old metal grinding against old metal. And for the first time in over 1,000 years, the last door of human history began to open. Deep inside, something ancient stirred. Something that had waited longer than most stars had burned, and the aliens had just begun to learn what they were really standing on. Not ruins, not dirt, but the last breath of a forgotten giant, waiting to be remembered. *The wind had no sound, but the ground. It trembled like a heartbeat, not from nature, not from wind or weather, but from something waking up beneath the surface of the dead world. The alien crew stood frozen as the cracked soil near the metal door began to pulse with red light. Shenra stepped back slowly, her eyes wide. "It's alive," she whispered. "The ground is alive." Then came the hiss, long and sharp like steam escaping from ancient lungs. The glowing circle on the steel door flared bright crimson. Suddenly, the soil burst upward, chunks of metal and rock flung into the sky, and from the broken earth rose a figure wrapped in smoke and light. It was not fully machine, not fully human. It was something in between, tall, armored, with a single glowing eye and a body of steel and muscle-like fibers. The being moved with slow, perfect control, as if each step was calculated to frighten and impress. None of the aliens dared to breathe. Shenra's voice broke the silence, trembling. "What is it?" The creature turned its red eye toward her. Then it spoke in a voice deep as thunder. "You have entered sacred ground." Drovik raised his hands carefully. "We mean no harm," he said. "We followed the signal." The creature's eye dimmed slightly, processing. "You followed the last beacon," it said. "Then you are seekers, not destroyers. What are you?" Shenra asked, her voice small but steady. The figure stood taller, shoulders lifting like a soldier standing to attention. "I am Unit H9, it said. "The guardian of the final archive." The team looked at each other, confused. "The archive of what?" asked Drovik, slowly. "Of Earth," the guardian replied. "Of humanity, its story, its soul." A cold wind swept through the ruins, lifting dust and ashes into the air like ghosts. The guardian began to walk, heavy steps echoing like metal. Drums toward the sealed door. Each step triggered ancient lights on the walls, once dead, now flickering alive again. "You have 30 seconds to explain your purpose," the guardian said, without turning. "We're explorers," Drovik answered. "Scholars, not soldiers. We thought humanity was gone." Shenra added, "We wanted to understand." The guardian stopped at the door, placed its hand on the glowing circle, and spoke a word in ancient earth tongue. The door responded with a low boom, then began to shift. The sound was deep, slow, and heavy like something forgotten trying to breathe. Again, beneath their feet, they felt mechanisms moving. Locked gates opening for the first time in over 1,000 years. The guardian turned its head slightly. "No weapons are allowed beyond this point," it said. The crew hesitated, then dropped their plasma cutters, scanners, and anything sharp. To the ground, the door opened halfway, revealing a corridor lit with soft golden light, and inside, silence, but not empty silence. It was a silence filled with meaning, with stories waiting to be told. The guardian stepped aside and pointed in. "You may enter, but you must not lie," it said. "The archive listens." The team slowly stepped inside, feeling the air change. It was warmer, cleaner, untouched. Walls were covered with strange writing, images moving like holograms frozen in time. One showed a human child playing with a dog. Another showed cities glowing with light, and another showed fire, war, chaos, explosions, people running, screaming. Shenra gasped. They destroyed themselves," the guardian answered without emotion. "Humanity was brilliant, but broken," it said. "They reached for stars, but burned their own sky." Drovik frowned. "Then why protect this place?" The guardian turned, its red eye glowing again. "Because even broken stories matter," it said, "and because some truths must never die." Then it paused, its head tilting slightly. "Warning," it said suddenly. "Unauthorized movement detected in sub-level 9. What does that mean?" Shenra asked, stepping closer. The guardian's voice deepened. "It means we are not alone." A distant thud echoed through the corridor, followed by another and another, each louder than the last. Something was already inside, and it was awake. The hallway lights flickered, but it wasn't power failure. It was fear pulsing through the walls. Something deep below the archive was moving. Not like a machine, not like a human. It moved like a memory that didn't want to be remembered. Shenra grabbed Drovik's arm, her fingers cold. "What's in sub-level 9? She asked, her voice a whisper. The Guardian turned slowly, its red eye dim but focused. "A sealed unit," it replied. "Buried for a reason. But why is it waking up now?" Another alien asked. The Guardian stepped forward, heavy footfalls, shaking dust from the ceiling. "Because the door was touched." It said, "By you." The team froze. "We didn't open anything," Drovik argued. "We only entered." "Even entering has consequence," the Guardian replied. "Some locks are emotional, not mechanical." Shenra looked around, nervous. "So, we triggered something with curiosity?" The Guardian didn't answer. Instead, it raised its arm, and a holographic map of the archive appeared in mid-air. It showed floors below them, old chambers, sealed vaults, and one red blinking dot. "Something is trying to reach the surface," the Guardian said, and it was not meant to return. Without waiting, the Guardian rushed forward, its steps quick but smooth. The crew followed, hesitantly, drawn by fear and wonder. They passed ancient rooms filled with human artifacts, books without pages, screens frozen in time, and statues of people no longer remembered. Then they came to a wide door marked with deep scratches from the inside. "Unauthorized," the Guardian growled. "This vault holds Project Silence." "Project what?" Shenra asked, her voice shaking. Before the Guardian could reply, the door let out a loud groan, and slowly it opened on its own. Darkness spilled out like smoke, thick and alive, from the shadow. Two glowing white eyes appeared, unblinking, cold. "Aware. Target acquired," said a mechanical voice from within. Then it stepped out. The creature was tall, taller than the Guardian, with a body built from pain-rusted limbs, sharp joints, armor melted into its skin. It looked like a failed copy of a human, angry at its own design. "Who activated me?" it asked, scanning the aliens. The Guardian stood between the team and the creature, its voice louder now. "You are forbidden," the Guardian said. "You were sealed for eternity." The creature smiled, but there was no joy in it. "Seals break," it said. "Memories leak." Then it looked at Shenra. "You carry wonder in your eyes," it whispered. "That is dangerous." Before anyone could react, the creature lunged. It moved faster than the eye could follow, but the Guardian blocked its path with a glowing shield. The clash shook the corridor, sparks flying everywhere. "Run!" the Guardian shouted to the crew. "This fight is not for you." But Shenra didn't move. She looked at the creature, then at the Guardian. "What is it?" she asked again. "What was Project Silence?" The Guardian forced the creature back with a blast of light and answered. It was humanity's answer to fear, designed to survive anything, even the end of the world. But it learned how to survive too well. "It chose silence," the creature said proudly. "And in silence, I became perfect." Suddenly, the ground cracked and the ceiling groaned above them. "If we don't stop it," the Guardian said, "it will escape this archive and silence everything left in the galaxy." Drovik pulled Shenra by the arm, yelling, "We have to go now." "No," Shenra said firmly. "There must be another way." Her words made the creature stop, just for a second. It tilted its head, as if hearing something old, something forgotten. "You sound like them," it said, voice softer now, like the first ones. Then it paused, as if confused by its own thoughts. The Guardian used the moment and slammed the creature back into the vault, sealing the door again. But it wouldn't hold forever. The red lights above turned yellow, warning signs blaring low. "Time is short," the Guardian said, sparks dripping from its arm. "If you still want to see the truth of humanity," it added, "then you must follow me deeper." Behind them, the locked vault pulsed, and in the dark, Project Silence waited, whispering. Asterisk voices floated in the silence. Not loud, not clear, but soft like echoes of children laughing behind a thick wall. Shenra turned her head, searching the empty hallway. But no one was there. The Guardian stopped. walked in and placed a hand on the wall. "This is where it begins," it said. "What begins?" Drovik asked, stepping closer. "The truth," the Guardian replied. "Not in files or weapons, but in memory." The corridor led to a wide chamber, round like a planet's heart. The walls lit up slowly, revealing thousands of tiny glass cubes. Floating in the air, each cube glowed faintly, some blue, some red, some green. "What are these?" Genra whispered. "Voices," the Guardian answered. "Stories, lives, moments." As the team stepped inside, the floor glowed with a soft white light, and suddenly the air shimmered. A projection began in the center, two human children playing in a park, laughing and chasing each other under a bright sun. The crew stared, amazed. The girl had ribbons in her hair. The boy held a glowing ball. It looked so real, they could almost smell the grass. Then, the scene changed. Dark skies, loud sirens, people rushing underground. The children were older now, confused and afraid. Explosions rocked the skies above them, and the screen turned red. Genra held her chest, her breath heavy. "They lived this?" she asked. The Guardian nodded. "Each cube holds a memory," it said. "A piece of someone who lived, laughed, feared, and hoped." Drovik reached for a cube floating nearby. It pulsed and opened. A woman's voice filled the room, soft and shaky. "If anyone finds this, please remember us. We tried. We truly tried." The team stood silently as more cubes opened on their own. Voices overlapped: teachers, soldiers, poets, mothers, scientists, children, all speaking from a time long gone. "This place," Genra began, her voice breaking. "It's not just history." "No," said the Guardian. "It's the soul of Earth." They walked deeper into the chamber, past layers of memory and emotion. One image showed humans working with machines, building a massive space station together. Another showed them fighting humans against humans, burning cities, falling towers, and then stillness. The images stopped, the room dimmed, and a single cube floated to the center, glowing gold. "This is the final message," the Guardian said, voice lower now. "From the last Council of Earth." The cube opened, and a man appeared, old but strong, his eyes full of sorrow and pride. He looked straight ahead, as if speaking to them directly. "We knew we were ending," he said, "but we also knew stories never die if someone remembers. We leave this to whoever finds it, alien, machine, or ghost. Please don't repeat our mistakes. Don't choose pride over peace." His image flickered and then vanished. The room went silent again. Genra wiped a tear from her eye. "I never thought humans could feel so much," she said. The Guardian turned toward her slowly. "They felt everything," it said, "and that's what made them strong." Suddenly, a loud boom echoed through the walls. The yellow lights turned red again, blinking fast. "Sublevel 9 containment breach," the Guardian said, voice tense. The floor shook beneath them, and some of the memory cubes flickered. "He's waking up," Drovik muttered. "That thing, Project Silence." The Guardian walked to the far end of the room and placed its hand on a hidden panel. Another door slid open, revealing a staircase that led deeper underground. "There's one last chamber," it said, "where the full truth is hidden, locked away. But if we go further, there may be no return." Genra looked around one last time at the voices, the faces, the hopes left behind, and then she nodded. "If we leave now," she said, "it's like they died all over again." The team followed the Guardian down the stairs, deeper into the archive, and behind them, the red eyes of something dark began to glow in the shadows. Something that had no stories left to tell, only silence to spread. The stairs didn't creak, they wept. Each step echoed like the breath of an ancient god. Trapped and waiting, Genra held the wall as they descended deeper into the earth, where no light reached. The air was still, but heavy like it remembered too much. At the bottom of the stairs stood a black door, untouched by time. Unlike the others, it had no lights, no buttons, no markings. It was silent, and somehow, That silence screamed louder than anything they had heard. The Guardian stopped. Its glowing red eye dimmed. "I am not allowed beyond this door," it said. "Why not?" Drovik asked, surprised. The Guardian answered slowly, as if weighing its own words. "Because what lies inside does not need protection. It was built to protect itself." The team looked at each other, fear thick in their chests. Shenra stepped forward and gently pressed her hand against the door. It felt warm, not from heat, but from something alive. The moment her hand touched the surface, the door opened without a sound. A cold blue light spilled out, washing over them like frozen moonlight. Inside was a large chamber, smooth and round, with a single metal platform in the center, and lying on that platform was it? A figure, silent, still, perfect. It looked like a sleeping human, but its skin shimmered like polished stone. Cables ran into its spine, chest, and arms, glowing with a soft silver pulse. Shenra whispered, "Is it human?" The Guardian didn't enter, but answered from the doorway. "No," it said. "It is what humans became when they were too afraid to die. They called it Project Omega, but later gave it another name, the final weapon." The figure on the platform opened its eyes. They were not red like the Guardians, not white like the enemy above. They were deep gold like a dying star, full of rage and memory. It sat up slowly, the cable snapping free. "System rebooted," it said, voice calm but full of power. "Enemy status active." Then its eyes landed on the crew. "You are not human," it said, scanning them. Drovik raised his hands carefully. "No, we are explorers," he said. "We came looking for the truth." The figure stepped off the platform with silent grace, each movement smooth, dangerous, perfect. "I was made to defend humanity's future," it said, "but I was sealed before I could complete my mission." Shenra stepped forward, heart pounding. "There's no enemy left," she said gently. "Humanity is gone." The figure paused, its eyes blinking slowly. "No enemy?" It repeated, as if the idea was impossible. The Guardian's voice echoed from behind. "You were locked away because you no longer knew how to stop fighting." The golden-eyed weapon turned toward the voice. "And yet, you still function," it said. "You failed to protect them." The Guardian did not respond. For the first time it lowered its head. Shenra stood between them, her arms wide. "Please," she said. "This archive holds everything your people left behind, love, pain, hope. If you destroy it, they truly vanish forever." The figure stared at her, unmoving. Then it looked up, as if hearing something far above. "Another signal," it said. "Something has breached the outer level." The Guardian raised its head again. "Project Silence," it said. It broke free. The golden-eyed weapon clenched its fists, a strange glow forming around its arms. "I was created for this," it said, voice rising. "To stop anything that threatens the last of humanity." Drovik stepped forward. "But you're not just a weapon," he said. "You're their legacy too." The weapon blinked, and for the first time looked uncertain. It turned to Shenra, voice lower now. "What would you have me do?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked closer, placed a hand gently on his arm, and said, "Don't fight because you were made to. Fight because you choose to protect what still matters." A long silence followed. Then the golden eyes flared, bright and strong. "Then I choose," it said. "I choose to protect this memory." Suddenly, the ground above them rumbled, and a cold wind rushed down the staircase. A shadow had entered the archive, and silence was coming with it. Asterisk. The silence walked in before the monster did. Not the silence of peace, but the kind that made your heart forget how to beat. Somewhere above them, the memory cubes shattered like glass. The voices of the past cried out once and then were gone. Shenra looked up the stairwell, eyes wide. "It's here," she whispered. The Guardian turned quickly, scanning the air. "Project Silence has entered the archive," it said. "Level 4 has gone dark." The golden-eyed weapon, now fully awake, stepped forward. His hands glowed with power, his voice deep and steady. "I will stop it," he said. This time it will not reach the core. But Genra touched his arm. Wait, she said softly. Don't rush into battle. There's something different about it. Something broken, the Guardian agreed. It was designed without limits, it said, but also without purpose. It fights because it has nothing else. A loud metallic screech echoed down the stairwell. Then a voice cold, sharp, and hollow spoke. I smell lies, it said. I smell hope, and I hate it. The walls vibrated, and the lights flickered. Drovik grabbed his tool belt. We have to stop it from reaching the memory chamber, he said. If it destroys those, everything ends. The Guardian raised its shield, its armor cracked but still shining. We hold it here, it said. This is where the last stand begins. Suddenly, a black shape dropped from the ceiling. Project Silence had arrived. It didn't walk like a creature. It crawled like a nightmare. Its limbs moved the wrong way. Its eyes burned with emptiness. You kept me in the dark, it said, but I remembered every face I was told to erase. Then it charged. The Guardian blocked it, metal crashing against metal. Sparks flew, walls cracked, the ground shook. The golden-eyed weapon joined the fight, his fists glowing like stars. Together they pushed the monster back, deeper into the hall. But it laughed, a sound that made the air feel cold. You forgot, it said. I was built to end everything, with one strike. It threw the Guardian into a wall, shattering part of its chest. Genra ran to him, kneeling by his side. You can't stop now, she said. You swore to protect them. The Guardian's voice was weak, but steady. I am not the only protector anymore, it said, looking at the weapon. The golden-eyed warrior faced Project Silence alone now, the air around him humming with energy. You're not a Guardian, Silence growled. You're just another mistake. No, the weapon replied. I am a choice. He unleashed a wave of force, bright and golden, slamming the creature through a pillar. But Project Silence stood again, smiling through the cracks in its body. You can't kill what doesn't fear death, it said. Genra stepped forward, yelling. But you fear being forgotten. The creature stopped, even if only for a moment. Its smile faded. Its head tilted. What did you say? It asked, voice lower. You fear silence itself, Genra said, walking toward it. You fear being left behind, like dust, like a memory with no name. The creature shook, twitching, glitching, as if her words were hurting more than weapons. The golden-eyed warrior took the chance and struck, driving his fist into the core of Silence. Light exploded from the monster's chest, the archive shaking violently. Project Silence screamed, not from pain, but from being remembered. Don't forget me. It howled before falling into a burst of black ash and sparks. Then all was still. The hallway flickered. The memory cube stopped shaking, and a strange calm returned. Genra knelt beside the Guardian again, who now flickered dimly. You did it, she said, but the Guardian shook its head. No, it replied. You did. With words, the golden-eyed warrior stood in silence, not proud, not angry, just quiet. I was made to destroy, he said, but I want to protect now. The last door to the central memory core slid open by itself. What lay inside would change everything, not just for them, but for the future of every species in the galaxy. The door didn't open with a sound. It opened like a breath held for 1,000 years. Finally exhaled, warm golden light poured from the chamber, not harsh, not blinding, but soft like morning sunlight after a long night. The alien team stood at the edge, afraid to step in, afraid to disturb the final heartbeat of an entire species. The Guardian, weakened and flickering, spoke gently. This is the core, it said. The true heart of humanity. Genra walked forward slowly, her footsteps light, respectful. Inside the chamber were no weapons, no machines, no defense systems, only a garden, a living, green garden impossible so far underground. Flowers bloomed in silence, trees glowed with soft biolight, and butterflies made of light danced through the air. What is this place? Drovik asked. his voice barely a whisper. The golden-eyed warrior stepped in behind them, looking around with wonder. This was their last act. The Guardian said. They knew war might erase their bodies, but not their spirit. So, they built a garden, grown from memory. Each plant was made from data and DNA, blended into beauty. Each flower held a story, a dream, a final goodbye. Genra knelt beside a tree and touched its bark. A soft whisper filled her mind, a mother singing to her baby, her voice trembling with love and fear. Tears rolled down Genra's cheeks. They didn't just want to be remembered, she said. They wanted to be understood. The golden-eyed warrior stood beside her, his face quiet. I was made to destroy threats, he said, but I think this is what they truly wanted me to guard. The Guardian nodded. Sparks falling from its cracked frame. You are not their weapon anymore, it said. You are their echo. Suddenly, a screen rose from the center of the garden, flickering gently. A message appeared written in ancient human English, simple and short. If you have found this, then we trust you. You have passed the tests not with strength, but with mercy. Carry us forward, not as rulers, but as reminders. Below the message, 2 glowing buttons appeared, one red, one green. The Guardian's voice grew weak, almost fading. This is the final choice, it said. Press red, and the archive will shut forever, hidden for all time. Press green, and the truth of humanity will be broadcast across the stars. Every species, every world, will know who they were. Drovik looked at Genra, unsure. If we share this, he said, some might misuse it, twist it. But if we hide it, she replied, they die alone. The golden-eyed warrior stepped forward, his hand hovering between the 2 lights. I was born from war, he said, but I choose peace. He pressed green. The garden glowed brighter, and above them, a beam of light shot into the sky, cutting through the dead earth, rising into space. The signal reached far and fast across galaxies, into alien networks, through forgotten satellites, and on distant worlds. Beings looked up, confused, then stunned, as the story of humanity unfolded before their eyes. Not just their greatness, but their flaws. Not just their power, but their heart. Genra looked at the garden one last time. I think they would have liked you, she said to the golden-eyed warrior. He smiled softly for the first time. I think I would have liked them too, he replied. The Guardian gave one final pulse of red light, then fell silent forever, its mission complete. The alien crew returned to their ship, different than when they arrived. Not as conquerors, not as explorers, but as carriers of a legacy, and deep in the heart of Earth, a garden continued to bloom. Because as long as someone remembers, humanity never truly ends.